There we go. Everything is coming out from 360 to 1080p 60. Oh man, the times have changed. I was thinking about that when I watch everything go live. You see that on Twitch, your initial stream, and it's like 360p. And I'm like, I remember 360p, watching 360p live streams and being very content with it, because at that point in time, we were still a bit enamored that we were watching live stuff on the internet, because, you know, it was a different time. Like, 360, remember when 480 was considered HD?
Yeah.
That was a real thing. Like,
Yeah,
for a long time, like that, not even live. If you were on YouTube and you were browsing around for some videos, the good videos were 480p, and you're like, ooh, that looks good. Let me pop out the chat here on Twitch. There we go. I think we got all the social media stuff pushed out. That's looking good. Yeah, things have definitely changed over the years. I wish I had a better idea of the exact date. You know, I could probably look it up. You ever heard of this? This is a little underground musician I listen to. Not many people have heard him, but he's called Weird Al Yankovic.
Yeah. A little underground, yes.
You know, obscure, but a few people know about him. He did this was definitely the 90s. I could definitely go look up the air date. He did a video for All About the Pentiums.
Mm-hmm. Oh, yeah.
Which was, you know, still to this date, you know, very nerd popular. And the video was brilliantly done. But I don't remember what service it was on, but I remember it used a Microsoft streaming tech.
Huh.
And
oh, yeah. I guess our Theron isn't getting the stream yet.
Oh. Maybe it didn't send out notifications.
Yeah.
Oh. Their stream, I mean, it's running right now, man.
Yeah, I see it. Just took a sec, maybe. Nice can again.
Yeah. And, no, what was I on about? It might have been like one of the Microsoft. It used the Windows Media Streaming Service, right?
Yeah.
And
those days, ActiveX and all that.
Right. And granted, our resolutions were like 1024 by 768, and it was 4:3 video. But I remember we played that video, and it didn't look horrible full screen, and we're like, oh, we're almost there. And
yeah,
I went
better.
back. Right. I went back years and years later. You know, probably like maybe 2006, 2007, when that original video in that original format was still available. And I remember pulling that up on, you know, one of my first widescreen monitors, and I'm like, oh no, it was just a big block of pixels.
Yeah.
So how things change. Fortunately, 480p has turned out to be like a legible resolution for, you know, video. You know, streaming video is great. If you find a 480p video, there's a good chance that you're not going to be like, what's going on? And it's just like, you know, it doesn't look like a bunch of square blocks moving around, right?
Yeah. Which
is good. So, yeah, if you're just tuning in, we were talking about when we go live on Twitch, just for the first second, when in your dashboard it says 360, then it jumps up to 1080p, and we're like, man, 360 is something we used to be happy about. Let me see. Hey, everybody, what's going on? It's Wednesday, middle of the week. We're surviving. We're here. We're in one piece. We got some stuff for you this afternoon. We're going to be talking, of course, about those atomic fedoras and what does that mean? What is new with that? Blue skies open, and man, the internet, you know, the Super Bowl's over, and bunch of the internet's walking around going, we need something new to hate on. We need something new to hate on. And so they're jumping on that. It's kind of fun to watch. And Magewell USB, I'm going to tell you why that's probably the coolest USB capture card ever made. And of course, our traditional Raspberry Pi gaming segment. There's a gaming attachment for your hacker tool. Stay tuned.
Mm-hmm.
Guess what day it is? I don't have to guess what day it is. I got a calendar button now. I always know what day it is. Sometimes I'm wholly unaware what time it is. You ever done that? You ever looked at the clock and you're like, all right, AM or PM?
Yeah. It's happened to me, yes.
Artheon, did you watch the Stumble Guys video? I saw you left a comment on it. Where I single-handedly decimated all those fools. Wrecked them. Took them down. That was kind of fun. We played Stumble Guys in the after show. Sandy was around. Beastwick was around. And we ended up with a situation where I had 2 games and Pedro had 2 games as winners. And if you're unfamiliar with like Stumble Guys, it's a battle royale where I think you start out with like 64 players and you go down to 1. And I'd won 2 and Pedro had won 2. And we had a final match. It was a fun time. You know what? That's a silly game. But it's free. It doesn't cost anything. And it's good to get people in on the after show. It's less involved than a Lethal Company. Which we got a really good run going in Lethal Company right now, too. Which Lethal Company's brilliant because we can play and like leave it alone for a week, 2 weeks, and come right back and hop right back in. Yeah, there's something to be said about that game. That's an extraordinarily, multiplayer is hard enough, but having a good balance with a game that you can do multiplayer and not really, multiplayer, have a good time and not really pay attention to it.
Yeah, it's just like a fun party game.
Yeah. Right? Where you're not like, I gotta win and all that, which, you know me now, I play games, I'm not paying attention to anything. I'm sitting here talking, running the show and stuff like that, and still beating everybody. Mm-hmm. It's a good time. What's been going on in the world today, man? I've been doing meat space stuff all morning. I've been doing my open source charity accounting work for a nonprofit.
Oh, okay.
The only reason I'm on the board is because I'm their bookkeeper. But hey, man, you got to volunteer your time. If you got some spare time, it helps out local community. And I just got back in the house probably like 20 minutes before. No, like 30 minutes before the show. So I kind of came in, set everything down, and walked in here like. So I don't even know. Maybe the world has exploded. I haven't opened up my Firefox Google News page.
Yeah.
Like, what happened? Anything big? I don't see anything. One thing that kind of blew my mind. Everybody knows who Jason Statham is, right? Jason Statham. He's got a new movie out called The Beekeeper. And it is, I watched the trailer for it and I'm like, oh, it's Jason Statham. Because I watched Guy Ritchie's film last year with Jason Statham in it. I forget the name of it. It was all right. It was still a Jason Statham movie. And, you probably know him from, what was the Driver movie? I forget the name of that. And all the other Lock, Stock, Two Smoking Barrel. Just omnipresent guy. And,
I know the guy, yeah.
The new Beekeeper movie, but he makes a very particular type of film that is just a Jason Statham movie where it is like action, whatever, Kung Fu Jason Statham, and he does this thing. And I watched the trailer and I'm like, yep, that's just that movie again. But what surprises me is that movie has made $51 million.
Oh.
The world needed a new Jason Statham movie, but that's not what got me excited. That's not what got me excited. The new Deadpool trailer got me excited.
Oh, yeah.
That looks like it's going to be a fun time. That it's not going to save the Marvel Cinematic Universe by any stretch of the imagination, people, but it genuinely looks like Disney has been hands off with it, which a lot of people were worried about. Because family friendly Disney and Deadpool don't go together. But it looks like it's going to be a good thing. Man, I'm not even cautiously optimistic about it. I'm like, that's going to be a good movie. I got faith. Ever since I heard that, like when they were putting stuff together, Disney came in and Disney's like, we want you to put, I forget what other tie-in movie it was, like, and fit this into the end of your movie as like a continuation. And Ryan Reynolds like, no, it doesn't fit. And he's like, it takes away from just being a Deadpool movie. And like, he fought off Disney. And he's like, no. And I'm like, all right. Maintaining, and we get Hugh Jackman back as Wolverine. Who doesn't want the Ryan Reynolds, Hugh Jackman buddy movie? So I'm kind of excited about that. But I talked about this yesterday evening, Trackmania. We do Trackmania on Tuesdays.
So much fun.
Checking out the new maps. And we were just having a chat. Welcome to Trailer Time. I saw on YouTube, it popped up on my recommendations. It's like, there's a trailer for Wicked.
Yeah, we were talking about that.
I got very excited because I had no idea that they were doing a movie about Wicked. And I'm like, ooh, like I stopped and I chilled out. I'm like, do I got a minute to watch this right now? And I'm like, I'm going to make a minute to watch this right now. I get about a minute and a half into it. And I'd hit pause. Like, what is this? Like, it's got the Wicked Witch at it. It's, like, that looks like, oh, go to Google search, and I'm like, no! It's based on the musical.
Okay.
It's based on the musical, not the good thing, the source material.
Yeah.
The Life and Times of the Wicked Witch of the West, which is a fantastic book. So everybody enjoy their sparkly lollipop version of Wicked, which ain't got nothing to do with the book, which is like so much better. Like it's not even so much better; it's a different thing.
Yeah, that's what I've been told too. Besides, you had mentioned it yesterday. I was looking at all the movies that Jason Statham has done a lot.
Statham. What did you say, Statham?
Yeah.
That's Statham.
I've only seen him in the Fast and the Furious stuff.
Oh,
so, yeah. I know his face and his voice.
He's omnipresent. He's been in movies for what now? Like 30 years? And he always makes that very, like I said,
Expendables. Oh, yeah, that was a good one. Yeah, I saw that one.
And there's a... Yeah. I'm trying to find... Jason, one of his first things, he was in a music video.
Oh.
And I'm trying to find the GIF of the video. I wonder if that would show up in...
Oh, yeah, he was in Transporter 2. That was the other one. Transporter 2. Yeah, I like those movies. Oh, yeah, I still need to see Transporter 3. Looking at the movies going, oh, God, I have so many to catch up on.
There he is dancing around and
Oh my gosh. That's hilarious.
it is just like some obscure, like early 90s UK video.
Ah, he's in the Erasure music video, Run to the Sun. Okay. And Calvin Harris Summer. Ah, he's the driver. I see. I've watched those music videos not pretty recently.
Don't you love it when that happens, Arthur? And every now and then you'll see like I see it more often, I guess, because it is you'll see like like an emote GIF or something doing something, and it'll sync with the whatever's playing in the background. You're like, all right, nice. Little pleasures. All right. I want to make some tea. Do you need to hop up, do anything?
Yeah. It was quiet, so I booped everyone in general.
What's that?
Live on LWDW. Did it?
What?
Didn't post. Oh, in general, I just typed in we're live. So I booped everyone because it hasn't posted yet.
I mean, it's only been like 17 minutes.
Yeah, I guess so. Oh, hi, Steve Husband. There you are. I'll be right back.
Yeah, I have a completely different take on, like, if you want to watch a show live, you need to set a notification. Like, I might do a social media post. I might not. You can watch it later. Death Race? I don't think I've ever seen Death Race. But ultimately, that does, it just boils down to, like, and again, I have nothing against it. You know, we had that joke as for a long time with, you know, it just being Jason Statham is Jason Statham starring Jason Statham as Jason Statham in Jason Statham the movie, because it's just that role. And he even got in on the joke because he did I forget who the commercial was for, but he did a commercial for whoever in the advertising company, like, picked up on, like, the internet culture of, like, him doing, and he played all of the roles in the commercial, including the baby in the carriage. You know, it was like suburbia type commercial. It was pretty funny. It was pretty funny. Come on, do the thing. Oh, I didn't see that. All right. Super Bowl ad, Christopher Walken. Original. But Steve, what if I wanted to watch a good movie? Is that it? Let's see if that's it. I think that is it. Yep. All right. Yeah, I'm not gonna play that. Check this out though. Guitar X. If you play music and you use Linux, you're probably, you know, if you have a guitar or a bass, you're very familiar with Guitar X. It has been like the digital, you know, amp simulator, stomp box. Now they have a VST plugin where you don't have to, like, run Guitar X as a separate application, then, like, run that into your DAW. You can just run it directly inside your DAW. But what I really like about this is, can I open this in a new tab? I love the setting. That is a preset for distortion. Just straight up rock you like a hurricane. I can appreciate that. There is little baby. Yeah. Okay. That is... Do I need to... Trying to make sure I got everything set up and nothing blows up when we get started. I think I got everything together. Looking good. I shall now sit and complain about the lack of PCI Express lanes on modern motherboards until Joe returns. Because I keep looking. Every few months, I always get my hopes up that, we have PCI Express 5.0, right? That some motherboard manufacturer is going to, take, you got your 16 lanes, but then you get your 4 lanes. So what do we got, 20? Then you got 4 on the chipset. Take those lanes and bifurcate them and bust them down to PCI 3, but electronically make them by 8. So I can buy a motherboard that's not $500. That would be awesome. And just get a regular CPU. Doesn't exist yet. I went looking last night. Very disappointed. MSI's got one that does a by 16, a by 4, and I think a by 2. It's got 4 slots on it, but I mean, it's a AM5. But the problem with that is, this really sucks. Because logically, I had to double check. I didn't think it was going to work, but I had my fingers crossed because I'd never looked it up until last night. Because, you got the card we're using right now, Jill's coming in on, that is a Magewell quad. That card requires PCI Express 3.0 by 8. So it needs a by 8 lane. Standard motherboards, it's going to have a by 16, maybe a by 4, but usually a by 2 and a couple of by 1s.
Yeah.
Just because the PCI Express lanes aren't there. If you're just using all PCI, 5 or 4. And that's kind of my problem. What I was thinking, though, if you had PCI Express by 4, and I'm okay, that's the same bandwidth as PCI Express by 8. Because that's how that works. You just divide in half from 3 to 4. I'm okay. So what if I found a board with a by 16 and a by 4? Could I plug the by 8 card in there? I'm mechanically, yes, but the way the pins are wired, it would still only run at by 4. It, it wouldn't do the down conversion of well, hey, I got all the bandwidth, which it does electronically. And dang it. So the hunt continues. Oh.
This is Ven's interfacing Linux music. I like that worked perfect for that, Ven. It's a nice...
Yeah, that's the background music for the videos.
Yeah.
That is the classic track of Electronic Volume 3, Knight Rider. RT 4.2, whatever that means. All right, let me go make some tea, everybody. I'm going to come back and we're going to do a little show.
Okay. Yeah, they have this add to favorites now on the gifts, which is nice. Big star pops up. I like that one, Art Theron. I added it to favorites. Aw. My week has been very, very good. I've been going crazy getting ready for Scale, of course. And we had interviewed Elon, the chairperson from Scale, and Hannah, another chairperson, last Thursday on Destination Linux. So that's out, so you can watch that. But yeah, what have I been doing? Oh gosh, I've been doing so much. Forgetting. I'm getting everything ready in the house for our meetup with the Linux Chicks of Los Angeles in a couple weeks. So we meet with them the weekend, 2 weeks before Scale, to talk about our Scale plans and do some activities and secret stuff. That's always fun. So yeah, it's been mostly about scale. How's your week been, Arthur? And my Steve husband, he's been stuck at meetings today, so he's probably going to be in and out. Oh, Python, nice. Yeah, I've done Python, but just it's simple stuff to get things done on the Raspberry Pi and whatnot, but not deep into it. Although that's the language I would like to use more. I like it. Oh, that's sad, Mir. He's just been slammed, I guess, trying to look for work or something. I don't know. Or getting work or doing work. Oh, Joe, yeah, you're at the NBA All-Star Games. Cool. No, I didn't even check to see where that is this year. Where is that this year? Indianapolis, I see. Oh, cool. Oh yeah, Arthur, and you need to watch that, especially the original, because that's the one that Steve's dad worked on. It's just a really fun sci-fi comedy with kooky people and kooky cars, but it's so much fun. Just one of those classics. Yeah, of course the original. I've never even seen the new one, so but I'm sure it's a dumpster fire. Yeah, Joe's in Indianapolis. Oh.
Steve, what is a monster car and a bull car? I'm not saying explain everything to me, but context clues. Give me something to search with.
Oh, 5 more days, Joe? Wow. That's you have lots of setup and breakdown.
Where's Joe at?
He's in Indianapolis for the NBA All-Stars right now.
Okay.
There it is. Yeah, where Nubbin lives.
Indianapolis. All right. Thank you, Steve. I'm assuming that's from the movie.
Yeah,
You
Death Race
posted Death
2000.
Race. Cool. What's the weather like in Indianapolis? Where is Minnesota at?
Indiana.
That don't help me.
I have family in Indiana.
Indiana on a map. Okay. I would have lost
Iowa, near Iowa, and yeah.
It's there. I've been there. Couldn't have found that on a map to save my life. I was thinking like further to the one of the square ones is Wyoming, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, so I was thinking like probably closer
up.
to Wyoming.
Yeah, that's closer to Montana.
Yeah, I wouldn't have gotten that.
Yeah, next to Ohio. I have a lot of family in Indianapolis, Indiana, Ohio, that whole area. And I haven't been up there since I've been a kid.
Indianapolis. Indianapolis. It is warm, man. What is it? It's like 16 degrees here today. It was, what was it, Saturday when I was driving home? was it? It was like 70 something in freedom units.
Yeah.
Because I mean, it was hot. I was thinking about cutting on the AC. Turbojet is stuck in Fahrenheit.
Yeah.
Like that. That's kind of warm for. As I totally know what month it is, February.
I know that's normal for where I'm at, but not where you're at.
It's been weird. I was talking with Jordan about that. It's a kind of an East Coast. Well, even East Coast, if you're in Britannia, you know this phenomenon too, because it was very much a thing there. You get the false spring, where you'll end up like 3 or 4 days where it just is like warm enough to wear t-shirts. And you're like, wow, this is great. Then boom, it just gets cold again.
Cold.
Yeah. It stays that way for another month. Oh, that's kind of what we're going through right now. Not going to stop me from drinking a nice hot cup of tea.
Yeah. Tea's good anytime.
It is.
I've been really getting into, I like the milk teas with boba now. Something Ven would not like.
Milk tea with what?
Boba.
What's boba?
Oh my gosh. Yeah, you don't live on the West Coast.
No, I don't eat junk food.
No. Boba is, it's a drink from China. The Japanese love it too. And they're little balls they're usually made out
You're
of
talking
tapioca.
about bubble tea.
Yeah, bubble tea.
All right, that's easier to... Yeah, we got...
Its original name is boba.
We got those, how many restaurants do we have?
I was going to say you should have those in your malls and stuff because it's become viral everywhere. But I love those drinks.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Yeah, we got a reasonable supply of bubble tea here in Athens. We got a couple of tea places. We got Tai Chi Bubble Tea. We got the Bubble Cafe. We got Ding Tea Athens. So you like
I particularly like the milk ones. They're more creamy.
Okay, so this is more like a tea-based drink.
Yeah, it's a tea. It's just a drink, a sweet, frothy drink with tea.
It's like one of those Starbucks double frappuccino mocha caramel frosting, and I was like, no, it's a coffee, and I'm like, not really. It might have some coffee in it somewhere if you go digging around.
Yes. So yeah, I didn't know if it had made. I had heard everywhere was getting bubble teas and boba teas, but it came through SoCal first, and then it expanded across the United States. So you got to blame us because this was like 30 years ago. They've been around since I've been in college. We had them.
All right, sugary drinks. Yeah, I don't. Yeah, a very interesting concoction that originated in, you guessed it, Taiwan.
Yep, it came through a lot of the Chinese people here spread it.
All right. Yeah. When I talk about tea, I'm just like, what do you have in your tea? Hot water.
So 2000 in the Midwest. No, it was in the early 90s here. This is where the shop started popping up, and it just kind of went viral. They're so good.
Showing up in the Midwest. Yeah. What was the drink in the 90s that had the orbs? Remember those? Orbs.
I don't know that name, no. Maybe it was a different name here.
Orbits. These guys.
Oh, that's why I was... Yeah, okay. Oh, yeah, those became really popular in the 90s. I remember that. I just didn't like them. I didn't drink them.
That's what I was thinking about. I'm like, hey, look, it's a drink with stuff floating around in it. And I'm like,
but there were different brands of that. I don't remember that particular brand, but some others.
Well, Orbits was the like what would you call it? The original.
Yeah.
Um,
I probably had drank one, but I didn't care for it. So
I never drank one. I just remember seeing, you know, at the shop, and I'm like,
yeah.
wiggling, and I'm like, no, I'm not, Ew. I don't want slimy little nodules of whatever. To this day, I don't even know what they were made out of. It reminded me of a lava lamp.
Yeah, they do kind of look like that.
And I don't know what they were, if they were like flavored water or a soda or whatever. I've never looked into it.
I had one once, and I just remember not caring for it, so I didn't pursue do it. But I was a lot older by the time that happened. Yeah, I've seen it in the soda shops, but I don't know if it is soda or juice.
Is that gum? I guess Orbitz is a brand of gum, isn't it? That sounds familiar.
Yeah, the gum, that I've had that.
I hope those little balls weren't gum. That'd be annoying.
Wiki and see what Wiki has to say. Came out 1996. Yeah.
I don't want anybody to look up how long ago 1996 was, okay? Because it was about 10 years ago.
Non-carbonated fruit flavored beverage. Okay, so it was juice.
You will not convince me that 1996 was almost 30 years ago. Nope. You can't do it. Was that 28 years ago? Jeez. That's dark times, man.
Yeah, that's probably why I was out of college by then.
The old enough to where I realized that was a long time ago, but not old enough to where it's a foggy memory. It's still a very like, oh yeah, I remember what was going on in 96.
Yeah.
Joe was in high school.
Aw.
He was at JR. All right. See, Arthur just wins. He's like, I wasn't even around yet, nerds. And he showed up on the scene.
Yeah. I was in high school in the 80s. So.
All right. Good. We can start calling the old men Joe.
Aw.
Yeah, I think we're good. We got everything going. I dodged a bullet on a video I'm about to make. I'll tell everybody that. This is something you run into when you do guides on how to do stuff. Sometimes a software will change their UI in a way that completely defeats what you're trying to show somebody how to do.
Yeah.
And like normally that's fine. You know, it'll be like 2 or 3 years later. Due to some just other work stuff I had to take care of, a video that I was planning on doing for like 2 weeks ago, like I was getting ready to make, like should have already been made really. I dodged a bullet on that because they completely changed the way something works in Reaper. And I'm like, I would have had to pull that. I would have had to take that down. It would have been one of those things.
Hey, Steve's very own, yeah. In the 70s. Cool.
Steve's like, high school? I was out of high school in the 80s. Cool, everybody. Let's rock and roll. Joe, are you ever going to get to do the superb owl? You do all these all-star games. Heat sync. All right. Cool. You don't know? All right. I'll tell you. Like, I just go where I'm told. I know that feeling, man. I know that feeling. Oh, I should say I remember that feeling. Nod my head, collect my check. All right. 1 week. How generous of them.
Yeah, Steve's very own. Hello. Good to see you again. Chat. It's been so wonderful. I'm so happy you're retired, Steve, and I can't wait for you guys' next trip out here. I would like to come visit you too. Me and Steve would like to come visit you guys. It was just so much fun.
All right. Where's my cursor? Let's get over here and...
It was like being with family, huh, Steve? Steve's very own.
We are good there. All right, Joey, right?
Yes.
Cool.
Mm-hmm.
Let's rock and roll, everybody. Hey everyone, welcome back to Linux Weekly, Daily Wednesdays, where we sit back, relax, take that midweek break, talk about some of the fun things going on in the world of Linux and open source. And Ben Stone joined every week by Joe Bryan. Everybody watching us, we're just on Twitch today because I didn't have time to set up the YouTube thing because it's convoluted.
As YouTube is, yes.
It is, man. I was like, do I get set up and do we do a pre-show or do we set up YouTube and try to do that in the pre-show? So we decided just to be on Twitch today, middle of the week, everybody. Excited, plenty of stuff to talk about, lots of fun things. And Joe, you're getting wound up over it's a beautiful, by the way, this is a very special corporate holiday invented by corporations to sell you products.
Oh, yes, but it's Valentine's Day, so happy Valentine's Day to all our viewers. Me and Steve husband will be celebrating this weekend, and I because he's working late today, so we can't do Valentine's today, but me and him always do a little something. Usually we go out to eat. And he sometimes buys me a gift.
There we go. I knew we were going to get to the crux of that situation. Like, yeah, it's beautiful holiday. It's great. Sometimes I get a gift.
Yeah.
I feel you, man. I feel you. You guys got some scale stuff coming up, though, right?
OMG, yes. So yeah, like I said a few weeks ago, I'm getting ready and making preparations for our Linux Chick-fil-A booth at Scale once again. And for all of you out there who would like to go to the Southern California Linux Expo, it's taking place March 14th through the 17th of this year at the Pasadena Convention Center in Pasadena, California. Woohoo! And you can use promo code CHIX or Chicks, short for Linux Chicks, on the first page of registration to get 50% off your Scale Pass. And something really cool, the Linux Chick-fil-A and my Destination Linux Podcasting Blues are going to be next to each other, as well as next to Strider's Lutris booth. Woohoo! We got all three of us. That's great. I was really excited about that.
It's going to be like, Yay. A flock of seagulls, but with more nerds.
Yes. See, the Lutris booth was near us last time, but this time it says next to us, so right, I'm very happy. Yeah.
Oh, no. Poor Strider. Yeah. I feel for you. You got it. Yeah. No, you guys have a fun time, won't you?
Yes, absolutely. I'm going to be doing so much stuff.
So if you want to go check that out, I posted a link in chat, SoCalExpo.org.
Yeah.
Yeah, go check it out. Remember to use that promo code.
Yeah. Get that 50% off.
Right.
Care of Linux Chicks.
Do it right. Go ahead. Don't procrastinate. And no, it's in all of our natures. We're in IT. We're in tech. We are born procrastinators as part of our DNA. But just go ahead and do it. Get it.
And this year, the attendance is going to be way up. They've already had higher attendance, so it has actually sold out before at the door. So
okay, so if you don't like big crowds, just skip what I said and stay home.
Oh no. Just make sure to get your tickets online before you come to the conference.
I've been up to a couple of things this week. I've been running around doing stuff, meat space stuff. I got some nonprofit work that I do and been like running around. But I managed to get something out at like a very weird time. I think I pushed it out like 3:00 in the morning. Something I'm big on is education, helping people out, especially with their multimedia production. Just getting the basic questions answered of, factually. And a question, it's not always just Linux stuff. We're doing a podcast, by the way. I know that might come as a surprise to some of you. Like, wait, what? Huh? But we are. And a question that I've seen pop up multiple times throughout the years, and I try to keep an eye on it on the subreddit for our podcasting. People are like, man, I want to learn how to mix a podcast, but they don't necessarily want to do a podcast, but they want to learn how to mix it. And a good producer is somebody, like, if you're not going to do all that work yourself, that's somebody you want to be able to find later on. So I've always kept a little thing on like archive, like I would export our shows like this show, Linux Gamecast, and put them up. But I'm not always on Reddit. I'm not addicted to it, so I've missed people asking. And I was like, man, I need a place to put that. So I'd set up a little page on Interfacing Linux, and I'm like, here, you can go download this. And that's what I did, multi-track audio for podcast mixing. This is an episode of Linux Gamecast. If you want it, what is dry multi-track? That is just the audio coming in, like just what we're getting everything. If the tree guys were back right now,
oh yeah,
at Jill's house, while she was talking during the show, you'd hear the tree guys in the recording. If I am making noise and stuff that would normally be gated, processed out, all of that is going to be in the files. And that allows people to bring it into their digital audio workstation if they want to use Outdoor, if they want to use Reaper, or like you got psychopaths still using Audacity. Bring it in, learn how to edit it, learn how to chop it up, learn how to clean it up, and turn it into a show. So this is going to be episode 599. Now, I brought up archive.org because that's where I've been putting these things for years. Problem with that is there's no way to discover anything on archive.org. Like if you do a Google search for like, hey, I want, mixing stuff for podcast, you find sketchy websites, you find people wanting you to pay them for their podcast audio. And I'm like, that is ridiculous. Like, no, and that shouldn't be. Oh, be the change. And the problem with archive is, and I had all this stuff on archive, which I still do. They're going to be there forever. There's shows going back past couple of years. If you can find them, good luck. You got to find that one post I did in the show notes from like 3 months ago. This is something you're going to be able to search for. And initially, I'd put this back up on archive. Then I went to download it the other day, Joe. And then the archive file, the full, which is myself, Jordan, Pedro, and the music track, is about 700 megs. 24-bit, FLAC, again, just unprocessed. 700 megs. And I never thought about it because I never went back and downloaded it. The first time I did it, it took about 16 minutes. That's not too bad, right? I'm like, yeah, it's like, you know what? Let them suffer. It's not going to cost them anything. They can wait it out. Then I had to download it again to check something. And it was like a 2-hour download.
Yeah, that happens sometimes on archive. Yeah.
And I'm like, no, that's ridiculous. So here's the bonus thing, and the reason I'm bringing this up. You can cost me money because I'm hosting these files myself. Paying for these out of pocket. You can download these right off the CDN. This is the same CDN that hosts this show, so it'll max out your download. And you can download that 700 meg file in a couple of seconds if you want. And that's going to be at interfacinglinux.com. I think it's the main post right now. And you can just pop that in, play around with it. If maybe you just want to listen to an uncut episode, because, we do live and uncut, even this show. You can get the live and uncut version of the show. Now, that is processed. It's still the entire show. You get the pre-show, me and Jill talking to like 15 minutes in the beginning. Then you get the show, then all the after show. And a lot of people, like, they show up for the pre-show and the after show. They just like, whatever, you guys do the show and I'll come back in the after show. This is effectively that, but just a live recording with, again, no noise gates or anything like that. So go check it out if it's your thing. Hopefully it'll be of some help. I'm scared to look how much bandwidth has already been consumed. And if I go, if it disappears, or if I disappear, it's because I'm now destitute, because this could be an incredibly dumb idea of charity from your friendly neighborhood old man Vin. We'll find out how that works, but hopefully it'll help some people out. Also, I need some people to talk me out of buying that big, dumb Noctua heatsink for Jackbox. The one they made.
Yeah.
You know that big, ginormous fanless brick.
Yes.
The little AIO, I think it was Art Theron that picked that up. Never really planned on using that thing. You know, I just put it because we got a wish list for the studio. And I just put it on there just like, I wonder, because at the time we'd never seen a 120 mil, you know, an AIO with just a 120 millimeter fan on it. I'm like, I don't even think that thing would work very well. Turns out it worked great. It's been working on it's starting to get a little pump grind on it. And I'm like, okay, fine. You know, if that thing died yesterday, 100% it is work. And, but I also have never liked the idea of having a water tank sitting over that sound card in there.
Scary. Yeah.
That sound card's worth like 7 of the PCs. That's around it. Yeah, I'm currently in the process of talking myself out of buying that dumb Noctua thing for like, that's silly. I don't know. Maybe. Anyway, next week if I show up with like the dumb Noctua thing, don't be too surprised. Let's get into the show proper though. First story this week comes from Fedora Atomic Desktops. Ooh, that kind of sounds kind of crazy, doesn't it?
Yeah.
Well, it's not quite as crazy as you might think. You know, since Fedora's immutable distros, they're pre-made images. If you don't know, you know, like base systems, you can't modify them with like desktops. You know, you got to have like different spins. You can't just jump in and take Fedora Silver Blue and turn that into like reasonably or with any amount of ease, turn that into like XFCE or whatever else you want to run. So instead, what they do, you know, you can do like minor packages layered on top of the immutable image. So that is why you have so many spins of, you know, desktop flavors for these immutable bits. And you know what? Immutable distributions are pretty dope. You know, when you think about Steam OS, they're good for playing games, surfing the web, watching videos. Great for a system that you're going to set up for like, you know, your parents. You don't have to worry about them doing anything crazy to it. But Fedora is going to try to simplify all this. And they're like, hey, we're just going to be doing our own little group of the atomic desktops of the different types, you know, because Silver Blue has really blown up in popularity. People really like it.
Really has.
And it's really neat. And, you know, Project Atomic's been around for like 10 years, but here it is. It's there. I'm excited to see it. I've played around with the immutable. I played around with Silver Blue. And like for desktop stuff, it was fine. I didn't have a problem. I think I played around with it live one time.
Yeah, you did.
On the stream. And, you know, I just completely blind, never touching it before. And I'm like, I get it. Later on, I went back and played with it. And I'm like, could I realistically use this? And as soon as you start trying to set up developer tooling, not at least for me. That's all I can say. I was like, I just bounced right off that. And I'm like, well, that's cool. But they have their uses. What do you think? I mean, pretty good news from Fedora, isn't it?
Oh, this is absolutely true, Vin. And like you, I played with Silver Blue, you know, when it came out, because we talked about it here on LWW. And recently I played with Fedora Budgie Atomic. And it was just awesome. It's very similar to running SteamOS on my Steam Deck. I loved it. And, you know, after the Fedora Sway and Fedora Budgie desktop spins were actually created, I knew more would be coming and it would probably get kind of confusing. So, and, you know, the cataloging of Fedora spins and unification called Fedora Atomic Desktops, it actually makes total sense to not have confusion in the community about what spin you're talking about and a unified approach to user questions. It just makes it so much easier for troubleshooting and community feedback and less confusion. I think it's a great idea. And the other thing I noticed, Ben, is it seems we have a new fad or FAD in the Linux community with Fedora Atomic Desktops. I'm going to call them fad.
Fads. I'll allow it. That was pretty good.
Yeah, I was proud of myself.
Unfortunately, the entire thing is completely invalid because right now, some desktop environments are not in the atomic variants, like Voxite, which is the XFCE. So until XFCE is in there, the entire project's moved. I'm like, bleh.
Oh, yeah. Yeah. Ben has to have XFCE. Hey, I can make an atomic window maker.
Exactly.
That'd be cool.
That's not like the only one. Pantheon and upcoming
Pantheon.
Cosmic. Yeah. There's a couple other things that need to get dropped in there. But yeah, Voxite, I guess, would be the big one, the XFCE spin.
Yeah.
That was one of the things I learned on the live stream. Like, can I change the window manager? And it was like, do you got a weekend? I'm like,
yeah.
And yeah, it's pretty cool. I'm glad they're doing that. Clear up any confusion, because I know people like playing around with it. For me, I view like immutable desktop type stuff. Like, if maybe you're like hyper into like just being able to not break something, just being able to get it back, I think there's nice. A good use there. For me, like, I look at it as like the Chromebook Linux. You just drop it on a laptop and give it to somebody. I'm like, here you go, go play with that. Have fun. I don't think you'd be able to break it, which is a good thing.
Chrome OS is immutable too.
Yeah.
So
I mean, it's that type of idea. Like, I think for a lot of us in the audience, it'd be maybe for a laptop, for your personal desktop. And like, I don't know. But
I've loved Blend OS and Vanilla OS. They all bring their own, unique paradigm to the immutable, and they're great OSs, and they become so popular. And Nix OS, let alone Nix OS. Hey, at scale, we're going to have the very first annual NixCon at scale. So
the Arch users are getting angry, man.
Yeah,
they're getting upset because people are coming up to them and be like, by the way, I use Nix.
Yeah.
Wait, what? Oh, man. Everything changes. Speaking of things changing, I was talking about this in the pre-show. This came at a perfect time because, the superb owl wound down and the internet was looking around and like, we need another thing to be unreasonably angry about, because we like waking up every morning and spending all day upset on the internet because we're miserable. Well, good news, everybody. Here's something for those people to be angry and miserable about.
Yes, true. So the open source social networking alternative to X/Twitter, or Zitter, as Ven and I sometimes call it, it's called Blue Sky, is now open to everyone, and no invitation codes are required now, which is really, really cool. So Blue Sky, if you don't know, is a decentralized social network that it's a lot like early Twitter and was launched in spring of last year. You sign up, you post, you repost, you follow people and view content in your feed, just like you do on Twitter and a lot of the other social networking applications. And developers can share their custom feeds with users who can add them to their own content feed. Now, that's something awesome. Actually sets this apart from other proprietary applications. And it's really cool also because they have a nice free alternative to TweetDeck called Deck.blue, which I know Ven has been using for a while. And there's so many cool things. Federation is coming in the future for user-created instances. And
eventually, allegedly, maybe.
Yes, allegedly. I hope it's coming, yes. And Linux developers could, create their own clients like they have with Mastodon. There's lots of really good Mastodon clients that I've used. And yeah, Ven, I noticed it took a minute for the Blue Sky website to open for me last week when I was doing our LWDW show post.
Yeah, dude, it was struggling.
Yeah, it was struggling.
It really was. It was used to the 12 or 13 of us that have been using it for the past year. And
yes. Yeah, so I'm hoping this means that they are being inundated with new users. And I think that's what's happening. So Blue Sky had 3 million users when it was invite only. But I'm sure now that it's open to everyone, many more users are in the horizon.
It needs it.
Cool. Yeah.
It needs it. I've been on Blue Sky for, a minute, but, it's kind of been for Linux and tech and open source. It's been a ghost town. I'm not going to pretend that it's been anything different. I'd set up the Deck.blue, which is not from Blue Sky. It's another company's made that. It's a third-party application. I don't want anybody getting confused there. Like, it doesn't cost anything, but, you got to link that up. But I've been using that, like, TweetDeck of old. That was kind of where I was interested in it because I knew Deck Blue, and I was like, I want an invitation. I got an invite. And I got all that set up like I have set up on Mastodon. And, we have, I have searches because they have groups that you can search with Blue Sky. And I'm like, okay, let's set that up. Let's set some, Linux open source gaming. Very few and far between, but maybe it's going to grow. I have seen people I've known over the years on different social networks and that have followed me have started following me this week. They've just kind of popped up,
yeah.
like, a couple every day. And I'm like, oh, that's cool.
That's nice.
Who knows? Like, use whatever you want to. And if they do actually get around to like federating, I'm like, cool, go for it. Have fun. It's just another social network. And again, I know some people are personally attached to their social network. We saw that with like Twitter getting bought. And I'm like, dude, it's a website. Calm down. Yeah. Go outside. Hug your friends. Oh, there is that. Go check it out. Go play with it. You can find, how about, who are you on Blue Sky? I'm easy to find because I got a dumb name. It's just Vin.
Oh, Jill_Linux Girl, like all I am on everything else. Yeah.
Just type in Vin on Blue Sky.
Yeah.
Like most social networks, I'm like, yeah, hi. Yeah, no, named after the diagram guy.
Yes, you are.
Thanks, Mom. Next was something I didn't even plan on talking about or making a video about, but back here, the other monitor's not cut on. This is a bad shot for it for this show, but we have 3 satellite PCs for bringing people on the show. Generally, 3 individual PCs. And if you are on the show proper using Jitsi, I send back return video, which means, everything that's going out on the stream or that I'm seeing, Jill's seeing in real time with me, so she doesn't have to try to, she's not just like looking at me talking into the camera. She can see herself and it's set back, as fast as possible. It's way faster than you would get trying to watch a live stream of the stream itself, where you do something and you got to wait. So I need USB capture dongles for all these. And traditionally, I've just used whatever. Like I bought, what is it? Maybe like 2 years ago, I bought that, like one of those cheap ones on Amazon just to do a little video. I'm like, what's inside of one of these things? And turns out it wasn't even USB 3. It was USB 2.
Yeah.
Even though it was like, it'll do 1080p 60 for $15. And I'm like, that's going to be some bad looking 1080p 60 probably. And turns out it couldn't even do it. It was just, this was a different time. Amazon hadn't went like full, just you had to be very suspicious of everything you ordered on Amazon at that time. Only a couple of things, you still had the thought of like Amazon just wouldn't straight up allow fraud products on. Like, yeah, it was. It was kind of a shock. But the strange thing is I send Jill 720p 30 instead of 1080p. And I needed something that was just going to send 720p where I could send 1080 out of the return video from another capture card. And that defect of those things only being able to do 720p 60. So I bought a couple of them. One of them died and I needed a replacement. Long story for a short thing. I went to eBay and I'm like, I think it was already on eBay. And I'm like, I wonder what the capture card used market is. And I just happen punch in Magewell. I'm like, let's see what those are for. Why? Because if you've ever seen the USB Magewell capture cards, you probably only remember one thing about the price.
Yeah.
They're ridiculously expensive.
Yes.
So I went ahead and bought one. Because why not? We might as well, right? And
Yes.
I ended up getting the Magewell USB Capture HDMI, not Gen 1, but the Gen 2, the new one. And I was really impressed with it. I wasn't going to do a video on it, but hear me out. Not only is it, for video viewers, you can go watch the video over on Interfacing Linux along with my write-up. This is just a professional USB capture dongle. So what does that mean? Like I said, if you're Magewell, that means $299. This is not the only Magewell capture card I have. The other one makes $299 look like a bargain. But for that, you get a nifty USB cable, which is ridiculous. I spent the first bit of the video talking about that USB cable because I'm not joking. Like, this is not a sponsored post. I just got the OEM version. If Magewell made USB cables, I would pay $10 a pop for those USB cables. That thing is crazy.
Oh, yeah. They would have no interference.
It's like they're made out
Yeah.
of networking cable, like good
Yeah.
networking cable. They're crazy. But for the video viewers, you already saw that it's just a block of metal. It's a half pound of metal. Like you're not going to be able to hurt it. And like, okay, it was like most other USB capture devices. You plug it in on Linux, it just worked. And it did, it showed up in the mail and plugged it in. It worked. Used it for a couple of weeks. And I just happened to go digging around. I'm like, I wonder if Magewell has any like firmware update utility for this. And that's when I ran across the capture utility. Magewell naming sucks. They just name stuff like that. That's why this is called the USB Capture HDMI Gen 2. This is just called Capture Utility. This utility is nuts. You can update the firmware. You can do hardware cropping. You can lock resolutions. You can pick custom resolutions and set individual resolutions. You can mute all of your audio. You can adjust AV sync and clone EDIDs all on the card itself from Linux. That's a Linux desktop native GUI. That is not
Awesome.
Wine. That is the Debian package that you can get. There's also an RPM for my brothers and sisters running Cent and Fedora. And all of these configurations that you do for the card are saved to the card. Like it's static. You unplug it and it's all saved till next time you want to plug it in. And it does 1080p 60 and effectively anything below that. It'll do 720p 120 if you want to do that. And it managed to pass my BIOS test, which a lot of capture cards, USB or anything, just fall apart with because you get so many crazy resolutions between being logged into your UEFI, to your boot screen, to your grub screen, to your boot up screen, and to your desktop. It didn't blink, did the entire thing, which, can be handy if you're doing things like I'm doing, if you need to capture a BIOS screen.
Yeah.
But if you need all those pro features, they are there. You can play with them. They will get your job done. And it's also $299 though, which can be considered a bit expensive, but I got good news for everybody because at the end of the video, if you stuck around and watched, and there's a 3-way comparison in here too. If you want to see some Big Buck Bunny screenshots between the Magewell and the Blackmagic Decklink Quad 4K and the EVGA XR1, you can look at the little evil squirrel, a peach, and the Big Buck Bunny himself with some foliage around him in motion because that's a good thing to put up. Oh, everybody's going to love this. I found one fatal flaw with it though.
Oh, what then?
Everybody's might be familiar with that.
Your Microsoft wireless keyboard.
My Microsoft Sculpt ergonomic desktop keyboard is deathly allergic to the Magewell.
Wow.
Deathly. Within 30 to 40 seconds of plugging it in, it just quits working completely.
Huh.
And it's a bit of a cascade of failure. Like it'll get to where the key presses are intermittent. Like I thought the transceiver was finally dying on it or something. Nope, that's all it is. Second you unplug it. I did not investigate it again, but I just want to make people aware of that. But what I'm getting to is you can pick one of these up on eBay for $60 all day long. Now, if you need something, the main reason I got it is because of the metal housing. And you can brain somebody with that metal housing. You can, if you threw that against your wall, it'd stick in your wall. If you tap danced on it and kicked it across the room, it would look you in the eyes and giggle. Like it doesn't care. And that's really good for your connections for your USB and HDMI. Like there's no flex. At the end of the video, I tried to take it apart and I'm like, that's not coming apart. I'm just going to leave that alone, man. And I put the screws back in.
That's awesome.
But that's why I got it, because if you need something to plug in, not worry about dump behind somewhere and like never have to worry about it. You can step on it, whatever, it's going to be fine. Also, the gaming angle on that is if you got funky, weird resolutions, because you got, HDMI upscalers for your retro consoles and stuff like that. And previously, I will say the same thing I've always said. If you got the money and you can afford it, get a Magewell when people ask me that question, because it will capture whatever you feed it. Like you have tools at your disposal to make sure that happen. And you're not going to get that with like an Elgato Cam Link or an AVR Media or like whatever EVGA. Trust me, I got more capture cards than you guys have. This is a special device made for a very particular use case. But yeah, if you want, I call it a $5 milkshake in the video, because that's what it is. The $5 milkshake wasn't as bad as I thought. We were talking about that. That was about 2 or 3 weeks ago. And in Pulp Fiction, the the $5 milkshake thing, and John Travolta's like,
yeah.
yeah, because Mia, they're at the Jackrabbit Slim, and she's like, I want the $5 milkshake. And he was like, what? $5 milkshake? That's incredible. Why would you pay $5 for a milkshake? Because in 1994, $5 was a lot of money for a milkshake.
It was, yeah.
I thought it was much worse than it was because I went back and looked up American. It took me way too long to find out what a McDonald's milkshake cost in 1994, but I did. I looked it up. Everything in that video is factual. It was $1.50.
Yeah, that sounds.
I was thinking like a milkshake was going to be like 75 cents or something like that, but it was like $1.50 at a McDonald's, so $5. And that's kind of what this is. When you can get a 1080p 60 capture card today for about, $60, $70, $300 is a big jump, right? And I wanted to see what it was, and I was pleasantly surprised because I was just curious, like, how do you get away charging this much for that? And that's how they do it, is that capture utility and all the smarts built into it. So if you want to play around with it, interfacinglinux.com, got the full review up there. There's referral links. So if you are deathly afraid of supporting independent creators or content, don't click on the Amazon or eBay links because I might get pennies if you purchase something through them.
Yeah. Well, it's so amazing for $60, Finn. And then you get software, that awesome software and hardware support.
You get
awesome.
And you get MageWell support. I didn't have time in the video to explain real quick. One of the things is I have another MageWell. I have the MageWell HDMI quad, which is a ludicrously same deal, right? Not cheap, because MageWell doesn't make consumer stuff. They just don't. They sell business to business, but you can buy stuff. They don't keep it out of your hands. And I have the Blackmagic Decklink quad, which I'm using right now. The Blackmagic Decklink quad I didn't get to use for an entire year because if you watch the video review I did of that, it took 300 plus days for Blackmagic to respond to my support ticket.
Yeah.
For a one-line fix to make it work with my Threadripper. Almost a year. It was genuinely like 7 days off of being an entire year later before they got back to the support. And that thing was just in a box. MageWell, on the other hand, I got the MageWell used, so I didn't even, I wasn't, the first party buyer from that. The one I had that super loud fan on it because it was designed to be in a server, an ingestion server. So the fan was just, and you could hear it from across the house. So I needed to wire up a little thing so I could do a fan controller, and I did that in the video. I emailed MageWell, and I'm like, hey man, could you give me an idea what size JST connector this is so I can order the thing, just a rando email on them, not a customer or anything. Dude writes me back, tells me about it, says they've updated the product part number. He's like, it looks like you're in the US. Here's a link to Mauser to the exact part number.
Nice.
That's the difference between MageWell and Blackmagic. And that's also factored into that price that you pay. They are legendary for their support. Oh, there you go.
Yeah.
Snorky Play Games.
Yeah, so this is cool. This is, Ven will show it on screen in just a moment. This is a cool orange and white device called the Flipper Zero hacking and pen testing tool. And it's actually gone viral on TikTok. I've seen it in a lot of TikTok videos. And it has a new video game module that you can buy that is powered by a Raspberry Pi, of course. Woohoo! And the Flipper video game module has actually a Raspberry Pi 2040 chip, which powers the Raspberry Pi Pico. And it has an HDMI video output on top, which outputs at 640 by 480 at 60 refresh, which does seem kind of low, but it's pretty good for this low-powered device, really. And also, the game module has a handy USB port on the side and the ability to have gyroscopes for games, the gyroscope technology for games, and a GPIO header on the front. And what's also really cool, I was thinking about buying one because it can run independently of the Flipper Zero and be used like a regular Raspberry Pi Pico device, but in a handy little case with all the breakouts. It's really cool. And there are actually GPIO pins, of course, on top of the Flipper Zero device so the community can build their own modules like the game module the Flipper Zero company has made that we're showing off today. And I was just really impressed by this. The cute Flipper Zero with a monochrome display that features an adorable dolphin graphic can be purchased for $169, and the video game module is just under $50 at $49. And they don't charge for shipping. That was cool. So I'm like, $50. Pretty nice.
I didn't get a chance to like really look into this too much. So does that just like play your games on like the little screen on the flipper, or?
Yeah, they weren't really clear about that. I'm assuming you have to do it with the HDMI output because the screen is really, really, really low resolution. So,
well, that's what I was kind of thinking about.
Yeah.
You remember there was a like single use? They only had like one game, like the Tiger games.
Yeah.
That like you could make something like that. I'd have to look into that.
Like the little football handheld and tail football and all that. Yeah.
It's kind of wild, man. Go play with it. I've thought about buying one, but I don't know exactly what I'd do. It's just one of those. It's like one of those. A
fun thing to play with.
Yeah, I'm getting to the point where I realize like then you will buy that, you will play with it for 2 hours, and it will end up in a drawer. Then you will try to give it away. I'm like, yes. So I'm just gonna say my 169, but no, like it's good to see the Raspberry Pi 2040 showing up in more places.
Yeah, definitely.
Even cooler that you can get them.
Yeah, and it's funny because it's not really good for playing emulated games because it doesn't have enough power. So you have to have they did say that you can code in C+, in C or Python to create games for this, but it didn't say if they play on the screen. So I don't know on the original Flipper Zero screen.
Hey, if you do know, leave us a comment on the YouTube video, and be happy to see it. Also, for our brothers and sisters in Canada, you can't get one.
Oh boy, yeah.
Canada has been they banned the Flipper Zero over car thefts, something that the device is not capable of doing.
Yeah, and you can hack your Apple iPhone devices as well with it. That's been big in the news.
It's a pen testing device, like
exactly. It's supposed to be for jailbreaking.
Right. That's like Joe, we need to ban lighters because you could burn your hand with one.
It's so funny because this one has because the device has so much notoriety on
they made
TikTok.
It too easy to use.
Yeah, they made it so easy to use, and everyone knows the name, so companies are going after it, even though you can just go out and buy a Raspberry Pi Pico and make your own.
Well, you can do all the stuff. And like one of the dangerous things I was reading, I won't get into like the political stuff at all, but I will say one of the dangerous things with banning the broad wording and that bill is it's not just the Flipper Zero. Like they can come after you, like if you're carrying around a Raspberry Pi.
Yeah.
Same thing. And I'm like,
Yeah, I mean, you can get a Wi-Fi pineapple, you can get the Ducky, some other devices.
What are these fools going to do like me in the middle of 2000s when I'm driving around with a satellite dish hanging out the side of my car doing war driving, man? Like,
yeah. You remember Wi-Fi war driving, Ben, back in the day?
I was doing it with a dish, Jill. Like we were just out playing around because it was a new novel thing and we were setting things up. But hey, this is productized. Like I encourage people, if you want to play around with a flipper, it's going to give you some ideas and like, red team, blue team, go for it. Like learn your stuff, learn your trade, people. Good to see.
It's an amazing device. And even Upton was very excited that they made a Raspberry Pi module for it.
Right. Oh, yeah, go check it out. All this is going to be in our show notes over at linuxgamecast.com. That's going to wrap us up for this afternoon. If you like what we do, hey, I want you to go over there, hit on that support button. And we got a couple of things. We got a Patreon. We've had one of those for a long time. And you get a big bonus, chunky, sloppy thing of extra content each and every week. You get the live and uncut versions of this show. If you can't make the live show and you want to relive it and experience it the same day, but if we put it up on YouTube too about a week later, if you just want to go over there and check that out. Yeah. But you get early access to anything that I'm working on behind the scenes and access to our Discord. And a couple other things are show notes. Just a nice little thank you for helping us out. We got LibrePay, PayPal, and of course, the Bitcoins, and we got an Amazon wish list. If you pick up something for the show, you can send us a note and we'll read it. We're like, hey, thank you. Oh, no, I have to read this. It's always a fun time. Jordan's got one, Jill's got one, Pedro's got one, and the studio's got one. I don't really have one for myself, but the studio's got one, so consider that one mine. We got merch. We got an Amazon storefront, so if you're ever curious about what makes all this stuff run, there's an itemized list in there that I need to update now. I got to put that Madrill thing on there. And of course, humble affiliate bundles. And if you are one of our beautiful party patrons, thank you. You make show possible, and that is why you earn our credits.
Yeah.
Boom.
Like our Theron, one of our advisors. We have Omegas and our Theron. And our executive producers are Barbrandt, Scott M, Atomic, Mike G, Chicago Kicks People, Super Dust Out, Empty, Blasmia. And our Sea Monsters, Trug Gills, Baratanuda, Justin, Hakeem, David. And our Death Notes, Turnover, Ogiwan, M Foxdog, Swine, Piper. And our Chairlings, okay, Jack, Strider. The list goes on and on. I
That
can't
was
read
it.
them
The
quick
Chairlings,
enough.
just two of them.
Yeah, I can't read them all.
Hey, everyone. Oh, yeah. By the way, like if you ever notice like any errors or anything in like the credits, I do those by hand. So there's fat fingering and like old men senior moments in there. Like send me a note. Like let me know on social media or in Discord. Be like, hey man, I'm in the wrong spot or I'm not in there. I'm like, oops. And I'll put you in there. All right.
Yeah.
Have a great rest of your week, everybody. And we will catch you next time.
Yeah.
Bye-bye.
Bye, everyone. Yay.
All right, let's hit the stop record button. There we go. Thank you, Joe. Bye-bye, Biatko.
Bye, Biatko.
Biatko's like, show's
Aw,
done. I'm
Joe,
out.
thank
Peace.
Big hugs, Joe.
Gotta
You
wrap
joined us
it
from your
up.
work. I think that's awesome.
Yeah. Oh. Yeah, that's like one of the strange things. Maybe I can log in and take a look. Hosting those podcast files is, I guess that's one you can say this, everybody. If you're listening to the audio version of our podcast through a podcatcher, that is probably the only podcast that you're downloading where no data is being collected. I don't collect any of that. I don't have any tracking, no metrics, nothing. That is just straight off the bucket. Pay for that out of pocket. Oh, you can be like, hey, we're not tracking you. I measure downloads in terabytes. Division, that is my metric. I use maths. Let's see what the metrics are. I don't think I'm logged into. I was trying. Wait. Oh, you're trying for the credits? All right, right on. I've been watching a couple of reviews of the Apple Vision Pro. People are really starting to play around with it now. It's bugging me. I know one dude that'll buy one if I mention it. He's a buddy of mine, and he's that type of person. Like, if I bring something up in conversation, 4 to 7 days later, he will have one.
Yeah.
But I don't want to be, and he's got the money to get anything he wants. But I'm not gonna. I thought about it. I'm like, I should bring that up to Wesley.
Because you don't want to try it.
No, I do want to try it.
Okay.
I do want to try it. Nobody I know has bought one, and I got some big roller Mac buddies, people that I'm flabbergasted.
Oh, okay.
I'm like, you spend how much on a laptop? And they're like, well, it's a Mac, and I'm like, do you know how many good laptops and PCs I could have built with that? And I don't want to put that bug in somebody's head I don't want somebody spending $3,000 on something that I'm going to play with exactly once. I'm like, that's cool.
Yeah. No, I have a few people have picked them up. Oh boy.
They might have one at the Apple Store, but never going to the Apple Store. And I'm like, I'm good.
You have to deal with them putting alcohol on it so you could try it on. Like disinfecting it.
Oh no! Oh, stop! I want to make sure there's plenty of human grease all over it.
Yeah.
Slip on easier. Looks like a ski mask. Yeah, it'll be interesting to see. Well, the AR stuff. I'm not really concerned about the VR stuff. I was talking about that on Saturday. The augmented reality, like that gets interesting to me. Like that technology, I'm interested to see how that gets advanced. And we've all been around long enough to know that the industry doesn't move until Apple makes the thing, right?
Yeah. And this will help launch AR.
They'll take everybody's going to take a stab at it, you know? And as much as I hate that's how things work, that's how things have worked for the last 20 years. Like Apple never invents anything, but they productize the thing that's been around for, half a decade or whatever, or a decade. Then
because they make it easy and accessible to use.
They prove that, hey, we can sell a bazillion of these. And everybody's like, Apple can sell a bazillion of these. Let's make our own version. Why didn't we sell a bazillion of these? Because you're not Apple.
Oh, nice, Joe. Yay, Joe bought the card. The Magewell.
Did you get a good deal on one?
Mm-hmm.
What? Let's go take a look. And $60. Nice. Yeah, that's what I got. This one for. It was like $60 for shipping too, I think.
Nice.
I gotta navigate my own website. Capture cards. Oop. Come on, where's it at? eBay. Let's make sure I'm not logged into eBay. I don't want you guys seeing me desperately searching for an AM5 motherboard.
Yeah.
I don't have anything nefarious. $50? All right, 54.
Oh, pretty good.
67, and you get the blue cable. That one even got a box. That's like the retail version. Those are pretty cool. 69, 89, 99. Then did we get any? Yeah, here's some delusional people. 149, 99, 219.
Yeah, you always have those.
Yeah. You always wonder about these. Like that's their big one, their big boy one right there, the 351, 32090, and that's his real name too. They didn't. That's not the eBay seller just putting a serial number in there. That's what it's called. 140. Yeah, there's $30 right there. Right. I don't know if that's a Gen 2 though. It looks like it might be a Gen 1, which isn't. There's not that big a difference. Oh, I wanted one of these. That's more than I want to pay for it though. These are really neat. That's an M.2 capture card. So you plug that into an M.2 port for your NVMe drive, which is a x4 PCI Express, and it's got a little cable.
A breakout. Oh, nice.
Yeah, that you can run to a back panel. And it's got, it does to 1080p.
Well, there's a good option if you're running out of PCIe holes.
Right.
Yeah.
Like those are neat. And that's the Eco capture. Yeah. Oh, that's what they got it listed as. Yeah. Oh, man. That stuff is always fascinating. Mm-hmm. I'm curious what most people I know who have capture cards, they use it for like their digital cameras or retro game consoles, because they get like a Mister or whatever to upscale it.
Yeah.
For streaming. Always fun. Yeah, man. Dude, I love value. I love value. Like that gets me excited, when I run across something that is borderline unbelievably priced compared to like what it used to be. If you can get a 300 and
I get it retail 300 and down to 60. That's pretty good.
It's the same thing.
Yeah.
And I'm like, dude, you got to get one of these. I love telling people about stuff like that, especially when they get good use out of it.
Yeah.
You know, if you need a capture card, home defense, doorstop, like, that'll do it.
Yeah, my original one is an Elgato that does 4K 60. And it's really good too, but you know, it was quite expensive. But fortunately my work paid for it. But I end up using a generic card that I got that I liked even better. So kind of funny. Yeah, because I don't use 4K for the shows.
Well, it was a USB, right?
Yeah.
So it didn't do 4K 60. It would probably
3.0.
Yeah, that you can't pass 4K 60 through. It probably had a pass through for 4K 60, or it would accept a 4K 60, but it couldn't capture 4K 60.
It's pretty good. It did pretty good. I mean, I got 4K out of it through.
Maybe for a pass through for a monitor, like that's not inside the spec, like for USB 3.
It did 4K. I showed my husband, and my other hosts use it.
Okay. All right. So we got anything else going on this afternoon before we call it a night?
No.
Oh, yeah, no problem, Joe. I'm going to go turn everything into a podcast with some data bits, and it'll be a fun time. What do we got coming up next? Jordan's going to be live tomorrow with something. I think he's going through Tiny Tina's Wonderland, which is going to be a fun time. And Friday, we're going to be back for Trackmania. So if you want to come pop in, there's still time to get around those tracks. Put in your votes.
Yeah.
And come join us at 7:30 p.m. It'll be a fun time. And of course, Saturday, back here again for Linux Gamecast Weekly. We'll see you then. Have a great rest of your week, everybody. Bye-bye.